As a pioneer, I would call you a pioneer of slalom skiing at the very least. We were taking it to a new level. And I'll borrow something that Bodie Miller once said. When he hates the fact that there's downhill training runs because people steal his shit.
Yeah.
And then they use it on race day against him.
Yep.
Would you like to have a World Cup season where no one got to see anybody train?
Yes.
Explain.
This is a battle I have in my own head. Like what I'm producing with my skiing is, I see it as that's my property. That's something that I've created with my coaches and the people that I've worked with. But it's something that I've created intellectually and then put it out for the world, like physically put it out there. Something that I've been able to do, and nobody told me how to do that. And I do feel like there's a lot of right now there's a lot of people coming up to me and asking basically like, tell me how to do what you do. And I'm like, I can't tell you how to do, and I can tell you technical pieces and tactical things, and I will, because I want to share that information. I want to raise the level of skiing for everybody, not just for myself. But I can't tell somebody how to think something technically and then put it into their skiing in that sense. But it does, it bothers me sometimes when I see coaches from other athletes of other nations coming out of their way to one of my training sessions at a different place than even their training, to shoot video of me, to just run away. Because I think you don't get in any other sport, when it's time to have a closed private practice, you get that. And we don't ever get that. It's it's a free-for-all. You buy a ticket, you get on the mountain, and you can really do whatever you want. So we, sometimes I'm like, when Mike or Jeff or one of my coaches, I'm like, just go stand in front of their camera. You don't have to say anything, just stand in front of it. Just because honestly, you get video of every single race that we do. And I'm not out here trying to hunt your athlete down to take video. I watch you in every single race. I'm getting everything that I can possibly get, and just have a little bit of respect for basically my intellectual property. And I could totally see Bodie being frustrated with that, because he was a total innovator of line. And to this day, nobody skis the lines that Bodie was able to see, and nobody could ski it until they saw him do it. So you're kind of I get it, but let that be his, but also I get it. So it's a ping pong match in my head. It's the whole thing.
Who's the biggest stealer?
I'm not gonna. Nope.
You're getting so good at that now.
That was good. So I got it anyway.
What's really great is when people talk about having a poker face, or somebody who doesn't have a poker face or has giveaways or something. I have the worst poker face ever, which is almost my best poker face, because I don't think I have giveaways. I just have a constant string of weird faces, and I'm always red.
He wants to follow up.
Okay.
All right, fine. You won't give us names. Totally respect that. And I get what we were saying earlier with winning, skiing perfectly.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Thanks, guys.
But when you know who's following you around and stealing your intellectual property, does that inspire you or motivate you more to beat that athlete on race day?
Not necessarily. I don't like to take this sort of external motivation of trying to beat an individual in a race. A lot of athletes do use that as motivation, but it's never worked for me, because it's sort of the same thing as saying in the start gate, I want to win this race, and you just think it hard enough and then it happens, and that never made sense to me. I really just try to focus on my skiing, but it angers me because of the effort that some people go to take the easier way, whereas I feel I'm just constantly, and my coaches and my whole team around me, we're just constantly it's we're just blind, trying to walk through the World Cups and just trying to figure things out the best that we can. And we've been doing an amazing job, given that there's nobody who's helping us figure out how to actually manage it or do it. So when people come up and it's like, hey, tell me how to do that, I'm like, seriously? I don't even know how to do it. I mean, I know I'm doing it, but I don't know how. So I don't know. It angers me, but I don't, and it's motivation to like work harder, but not to beat that person, but just to focus harder on my own skiing and to block out that noise. Because like I said, it's one thing to have an intellectual idea and a whole other thing to put it into your skiing. And the more time I spend worrying about people taking intellectual ideas, the less time I can spend actually focusing on putting that into my skiing.
I do have. On that note, I'll just end
Yeah.
it with this: is that standing in the start, like with you the last couple of days, it's interesting, and there's a bubble around you. There really is you're up there with Dominic Paris, who's I won Kitfield. I mean, the guys, you're up there with a bunch of other celebrities, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's
He's a rock star too.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's a bubble around you, and it's not off-putting. It's just like there's a clear bubble around you, and I'm wondering if you're aware of the bubble.
Well, I'm kind of like the bubble boy.
Yeah. Talk about your bubble.
No. It's interesting because I feel like the last couple years, like I used to have more of a bubble, and I'm trying to open that a little bit because, especially when I'm at the start of a training day with the best speed skiers in the world, like, Jansrud, Dominic Paris, our men's team, I'm sort of like, got any tips for me? But I also want to respect that because, like, of everything I've mentioned before. But I don't know. I do sometimes feel like people are like, look at me and they're like, do we speak to it? I'm like, I'm not an amoeba. I mean, come on. So sometimes I have to like become like an animated emoji. I'm like, hi, and then people sort of open up a little bit more. But it's been kind of getting better as it like people see that I'm willing to converse and can,
Yeah. So for your own entertainment, Jeff Fergus told me that Lydia just called him and asked for video vows.
No shame.